Hi everyone, it's episode 11 of Emma's Happy List. I'm Emma, and 11 usually stands for equilibrium, duality, balance, and just generally being in sync with the universe. So my guest for the 11th episode is perfect for this. His name is Ryan. I'm so lucky because I have so many wonderful friends that are willing to share their happy lists and share their experiences on this podcast. So he's from Yorkshire, but he's currently down in New Zealand. So without further ado, let's dive straight in.
Good morning, Ryan, or good afternoon, rather.
Kia ora, how are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. So just for the benefit of everyone listening, tell everyone where you are right now.
So currently I'm in Christchurch in New Zealand. So I've been here about just over a year now. So I'm here with my sister Lisa. So we started on the North Island, drove around in a van for 2.5 months, and thankfully settled in Christchurch a month before the whole
Coronavirus. Oh, sorry, I said it. Damn it. Damn it.
And yeah, so we're here, but it's good. I feel quite fortunate to be here, to be fair.
Yeah, it seems like you landed on your feet. So I'm still drinking my morning tea and I've not fully come around, so apologies if I'm a bit slow. But I am in space though.
Yeah.
So
good.
everyone who's watching, they can see I've changed my background so that I'm in space and I'm very much enjoying it. And I think, Ryan, you like it too, don't you?
Yeah, it had an extra aspect to it.
Yes. So let's rewind then. So before you went to New Zealand, has it really been a year now?
Yeah.
Oh
I think we came
my.
out 1st of May, so just over.
Oh my goodness, that's gone so fast. But rewind then, so it must have been the May before when I met you, was it?
Yeah.
Or the May before
So
that?
2018.
I don't know, it was a while ago now. But
Yeah.
I just want to explain to everyone, so you're one of the few people that I come across in life, and it does happen every so often, and I immediately looked at you and I was like, I want to be his friend. I want to be friends with him. I don't know why, and I can't explain it. It was just something that I don't know, maybe like some people who are listening have had this like experience where they've just looked at someone and been like, that person's my friend.
Well, I know I'd heard a lot about you before I met you because obviously I knew Therese quite well.
How
And
intriguing.
she was like, oh yeah, I've got a friend called Emma who's going to be working in a Oasi bar, and she's like, you two will get along so well. And
The stars were aligned. The stars were
Yeah.
aligned. Yeah, so we met while I was working as like a waitress in a bar on Lake Garda, and you were there for TUI as a rep.
Ingham's.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ingham's. Sorry, yeah. Cross wires. But yeah, we did just hit it off straight away, and we spent well, we didn't actually spend that much time together over that summer, but we did at every moment that we could, we did.
Yeah, I'm sure there was a fair few drinking.
You were a very bad influence, Ryan. That's what you're trying to say. A very
well, I don't know if it was me. I don't know.
Huh?
I don't think it was me. I don't know.
It was definitely you. You're a very bad influence. Although from what I can tell now, from like your keeping up with your Instagram posts and your stories, you've sort of gone right onto the healthy bandwagon. You're like proper taking care of yourself.
I haven't actually drank since February. So
holy moly.
Yeah.
This is a really big deal. Everyone who's listening, this is a really big deal. Because when
I think it is.
When we were in Italy, it was a daily occurrence, more or less.
And probably if you'd said to me at that point, in a year and a half, you won't drink for months, I'd be like, shut up.
Yeah.
But
how are you feeling from it? Have you felt a difference?
Well, I think now I'm on more of like a constant mood all the time.
Yeah.
Whereas, when you drink, I'm terrible on a hangover. I'm just like, I don't want to get out of bed, don't want to see people until I'm drinking again. Then it's all right.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's just kind of like a constant level, no hangovers. So
I'm going to really embarrass you here and remind you of that time you left me freezing to death outside of your apartment.
Yeah.
So
I was reading through our messages. I was reading through our messages, trying to think about like how we'd met, and then I saw like a whole list of 10 messages where you're like, Ryan, where are you? Ryan, where are you?
So this was when we were out in Italy, And I actually, thankfully, I think people are getting the gist now of what I do. I tend to go pick friends that are staying in ski resorts. Anyway, Ryan graciously held me in his apartment for a week was it a week and a half? Yeah, a week and a half I
Yeah.
came to stay, wasn't it? But on this one particular night, Ryan had too much to drink and he had the only key to the apartment, decided to go home, and then I was basically on my own in a ski resort. But thankfully Dave came to save me.
I know. I mean, still to this day, I don't really know what happened.
I don't know
But I think
either.
the next day we found out there was tequila shots, and I think
Tequila is always to blame. I forgive you
yeah,
anyway. It's all
yeah.
good.
Thank you.
It's a funny story
Yeah.
now. It's a
Sorry.
funny story to
Yeah.
tell on my podcast.
I'm pretty sure you all thought I was dead at one point because there was a big fight kicking off or something. I was just asleep at home.
Yeah, we did think you were involved in some weird like Italian gang fight. But no, you were fine. You were sleeping sounding like a baby angel, like the angel that you are. But anyway, I'm glad you're feeling sort of more consistent with your mood and better from not drinking. I think I've mentioned this before, but I'm like a classic binge drinker. So it's really bad, actually. I read like it's one of the worst drinkers you can be, where I won't drink for like weeks and months. And to be honest, I don't really need one and I don't crave one.
Yeah.
But say there's an occasion and there's a night out, and I'll get on the night out, but it'll be like lots of alcohol involved, and then it's the worst kind of drinking. Apparently, you're better off having a glass of wine a night.
I'm probably quite similar to you in that once I start drinking, I don't really have a line. And that's probably why it's kind of all or nothing. So if I have two, then I'm like, yeah, let's go out, let's get married. So I just can't even like have a couple, because then for like 3 days after, I just don't do anything. I lose routine.
Yeah.
And don't do much.
So at the moment, you're a little bit settled in Christchurch, but how were you dealing with a routine in a camper van? Because that's quite a difficult one.
Yeah. I mean, thankfully, it was kind of before all of this crisis, so that wasn't really around when we were driving about.
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know, I was traveling around in a camper van with my sister, so it was both of us in one camper van for 2.5 months.
Oh my God.
I mean, that's quite a mission in itself.
How are you both still alive? That's my question.
There was moments. We nearly killed each other. But we survived, and we had like a tent in there as well. So some places you can set up the tent, but it just depends, because there's a lot of freedom camping here. So you can literally you don't have to pay for where you're staying. You just turn up in the camper van, you can stay there. So some places allow the tent, some don't. But
you have to take your own toilet roll to those places, though.
Yeah. It does get difficult, and it's kind of one of those really hard ones of first world problems where you're at a beach every day and you start getting bored of being at new beaches every day, which does sound really bizarre. But when you're kind of like doing it week after week, and you kind of start to lose a little bit of meaning because you don't have something to kind of fill every day.
Yeah, like what's your purpose for that day? What's your mission to achieve? Okay, so how did you overcome that then? What was your sort of solution? Was it to get a bit more structure?
Where possible, it was good to kind of plan things so that then you had something to look forward to. So if you knew kind of the date that we were then going down to the South Island, then it's kind of like, okay, we're going there, so we're going to have to go here and here in the meantime.
Yeah.
We kind of had in each place there would be we'd have a little list of things that we wanted to do, so that would kind of give you something to look forward to and something to aim to as well.
Yeah, that's very similar to what I did when I was out there. So I had like a list, and I kept a little roadmap as well, and everywhere we went I had like this little silver pen and I highlighted all the roadmap and stuff. I've still got that, actually. It was my intention to come home and frame it, but it's like you just come home and then all of a sudden normal life takes over. But my question then, so it's Emma's happy list. Do you have a happy list at the moment?
As of 2 days ago, I have a happy list.
As of 2 days ago, when I asked you, would you like to be a guest on my podcast?
So funny coincidence. But I now have a happy list. It's not very long. I think it's about 8 or 9 things.
Yeah, that's fine, because the idea is, so it's the same as mine when I first started. I think I had maybe half a page of things. I was like, right, these things make me feel a bit better and I make better decisions after I do them, etc. And then bit by bit, like mine is like such a hodgepodge now of like different pens and different sort of like scrawls and things, but it ends up just being like a really nice little tool to have a little look at. And
Yeah.
actually I had a really interesting conversation with someone yesterday because they're not very sort of happy where they're at the moment in their life and with their job and that sort of thing, but they were very much outcome focused, like really really outcome focused,
Yeah.
like, oh, when this happens I'll be happy, or when this happens I'll be happy. But the idea is that, you know, happiness isn't a destination. Happiness is very much sort of living in the now and making the now you're happy. And but I understand that sometimes that's a really really difficult thing to do, and it's a really difficult thing to sort of integrate into your life. Like if you are in this sort of down mood, that's a hard thing. So one little sort of step that you can take is you can just bring out like your happy list, and you can look at it and you can be like, oh yeah, actually, you know, I could bake a cake right now, for example, because that
Yeah.
does actually bring me a little bit of joy. And then the more
And
you
I think,
sort of, yes, yeah, so
I
go on.
think, like you said before, you can be in control of it, and that's kind
Yeah.
of something you need to realize, I guess.
Yeah, that's actually a really nice way of looking at it. So you sort of like, yeah, regain control, rein it all in, and then the idea is you start becoming aware and you actually categorize things that bring you joy and things that don't bring you joy, and you follow the things that bring you joy. So that's kind of the whole premise, but I'm really curious to know what is on your happy list. So if you've got a couple of things to choose from, you can feel free to choose any one of them.
Yeah, so I think I have got one that I was gonna say, and actually, because of you asking me to come on here, and I was catching up with all the podcasts, and I've realised I haven't done it for a while. So next weekend, it's one of the first things I'm gonna do.
Ooh.
But the number one thing on my happy list is watching the sunrise. So
Oh my
especially,
God.
like, there's a few times where I've set off like at midnight, climbed up a mountain, and watched the sunrise. You know, after you've just walked for 6 hours, and it's probably the best feeling I've ever had,
This is
ever.
such a coinky
Um,
dink. This is such a coincidence. Like that is the exact one that I chose today. So on my list, I've got hiking up a mountain to watch sunrise. That's like exact. I can't believe that. That's so weird. We are
Great
aligned
minds
with
think
the
alike.
universe. See, this is what happens whenever I talk to you. Like the universe aligns. Like things happen, coincidences happen. That is amazing. So you're doing it next weekend, did you say?
So yeah, so I don't actually have a mountain. Are you familiar with Christchurch?
I am yeah,
No.
sort of. Yeah.
Well,
Like
there's
Mount
like the
Hutt.
Port Hill, kind of behind Christchurch or
Yeah.
below Christchurch. So I'm gonna go up them, and I mean, there's nice views like over Christchurch. You're not quite mountain high, but it should still be nice.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe you
Yeah.
said that. I'm going to have to choose
No,
another one because we're going to have an entire conversation about this, but then I'll choose another one just for lols. But,
I thought I also wrote down a few reasons why it's my favourite one.
oof,
Um,
share away.
and you can let me know if there's anything different. First, I feel like it grounds me. Like when you are watching the sunrise, you kind of realise the sun rises every day, and we're just a small part of this whole big solar system.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's anything that's kind of troubling you, or you really feel overwhelmed, it kind of puts everything into perspective for you.
Yeah. Do you know
I
what?
feel like,
See, yeah, I totally get that. And I get the same feeling as well when I go put my feet in the sea. Like when I go and sort of like take my shoes off and walk down to the sea, and like the waves are like coming into the sea, I get exactly the same feeling when you've got like this vast ocean in front of you. And imagine if it was a sunrise as well, the ocean and the sunrise, double whammy.
yeah,
But yeah, I look out over the sea and I feel exactly the same, like very humbled, very
yeah,
sort of like, oh yeah, I remember now, like it's not just me, it's not just my problems, like in fact they're very minuscule and they probably won't matter in a week's time.
yeah. And it's funny how at the time things can seem like the biggest thing ever, and then a week later, like you say, you're like, oh yeah, strange that
Yeah,
was,
that
I
happens
was worrying
so
about it. This was the
yeah,
outcome. It was fine.
it used to happen so often to me, and then that one of the reasons why really I started looking into like mind management and like my own psychology, because I was like, why is this happening all the time? Like I shouldn't have this much stress for such minuscule problems. I shouldn't have like this very stressful reaction. Like there's no saber-toothed tiger coming to eat me. Like, I shouldn't be having this like emotional, like physically charged response. So that's a really good point. What else is that? What other reasons have you got? Did you say you had a few reasons?
It makes me feel very grateful. So just being able to be there and being able to capture that moment. So that it just, when I'm there, I feel like there's nothing more beautiful in the whole world.
Yeah.
And to be able to capture those moments. And sometimes, you know, you could be the only person on the mountain watching that sunrise, and it just feels like that's your own sort of special moment.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I just put under there, nature is beautiful. So
Oh,
as a whole, if it is the hiking, then there's also that kind of elation of, yes, I made it to the top.
I was literally
So
just
that's
going to
also,
say, like, any sunrise is sort of beautiful, but there's something
yeah,
so special about the mountains, isn't there? There's
yeah,
something unreal about like being on a peak and watching like the like world come to life like beneath you.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, share with me. So, are there sort of very particular hikes in your head that you can think of that like bring back this immense feeling for you, like just from sitting here in your room?
So yeah, so the first one I did was actually Monte Baldo behind Malchesney.
Very
So
familiar. Yeah.
so that was me, Therese, and Claire. We all went up together, and I can't remember who thought about it or how it came about. But we were all like, let's set off at midnight, hike up this mountain.
Yeah.
Um, and we did, and it was hard, and it was tiring, and we hadn't really, I don't know, I'd never really experienced it before, but probably like the whole hour before sunrise is starting to get light when you're up there.
Yeah.
So all that time you're thinking you're going to miss it.
Yeah.
So as you're going up, you start running and you're like, we're never going to make it. We're going to miss it. We just hiked 5 hours. We're going to miss it. This hasn't been worth it. And so we're all running to the top. And I was the first one to get there. And I think I kind of made them think they'd missed it, because I was like, it's amazing. It's amazing. So then they were like, oh no, we've missed it. But they're scrambling up the rock. We still had, I don't know, like 5 or 10 minutes to go.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I
And
could
then
just imagine Therese.
yeah. But yeah, it was beautiful. And it was kind of, you couldn't imagine it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just, it wasn't anything like I'd pictured before.
Yeah.
Um,
And it
and it's
transforms as well. It's
amazing.
not as if it's not
Yeah,
like one moment that you can just capture, because it's like the colors are constantly changing, like things like shadows are constantly moving. Like, it is like a undescribable. If you've not done it before, I would highly recommend. So that was Monte Baldo in Malcesine, which is on Lake
yeah.
Garda for everyone who's listening. And then anywhere else that you can think of off the top of your head just now?
Yeah, so I did a few fairly recently. So well, when we were in the van. So I did one. I did do one on my birthday. I didn't actually get to see the sunrise because it was very cloudy, but it was quite an ordeal. Basically, I went up this mountain. There wasn't a track, so it was basically you just had to follow some notes that some people had said online, follow this river, and then follow the ridge of the mountain all the way up. You come to an intersection and you kind of turn right, and then you're kind of there. So I managed to find
Sounds
it.
easy enough.
Yeah, it's kind of like, how hard can it be? So I managed to find it all in the dark. But then when I got up there, it was too cloudy to see the sunrise. And then I waited like an hour just to see if the clouds were going to move, but they didn't. What did pick up was the wind. So I was nearly getting blown off this mountain. So I was taking shelter behind rocks. I managed to lose a glove and a charging cable and all these things. And then as I got to the intersection, and it's now light, I managed to go down the wrong side.
Oh.
So I'm going down this loose rock where there's scree, and then I'm trying to scramble back up the mountain.
So a
And
humbling experience, but not in the way that you were
yeah,
expecting.
no, I was still, I mean, by the end of it, there was still like the feeling of elation and the fact that I'd made it. And when I got to the top, it was still beautiful and it was amazing.
Yeah.
But that one brings back many memories as well for other reasons.
Yeah. I love that though. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go up and see the sunrise for my 25th birthday. Did you check the weather forecast though? If not, you only have yourself to blame.
I think I
You
probably did.
didn't. You
Well,
didn't.
I'm sure I will have, but as well, I'm always like, how are they going to know exactly that it is going to be cloudy at that time in the morning? And it's kind of, it was my birthday, so it's kind of
very,
like,
the science that they use is quite specific these days, is it not? I know there's like the old, like, oh, weathermen are always wrong thing, but I mean, we've got satellites and things now, so, well,
we do.
sophisticated satellites.
Well, it was my birthday anyway, so if you do it like 3 days after your birthday, it's not quite the same as doing it on your birthday.
Very true. Well, you had a humbling experience anyway, and I'm sure you were grateful afterwards for your life.
Yeah, exactly. Lisa thought I died, so I was back about 5 hours late. So she was freaking out. But when I came back, all was good, and here I am.
And did you have some birthday cake?
Yes, Lisa bought me some birthday cake, actually. She'd hidden it. So inside the van, like under where the bed is, we've got different cabinets. And she'd managed to hide it in one of them.
Oh, so it all was well in the end.
Yeah.
So I'm going to share two of mine as well. So I can't believe that we've chosen the same one, because I had like this in my head. I was like, oh yeah, I'll talk about that because it's quite relevant to like both of our like past. So the first time that I'd ever done it, like I've got two memorable times. So one of them is hiking up a mountain called Rocciamelone, which is in like the Susa Valley in Italy. And this was in 2016, and the reason that it was so sort of pivotal in my life is because it was, let me think, 4.5 months after I'd broken my back.
No way.
Yeah, so it was like, so I broke my back in February 2016, and I hiked up Rocciamelone in August 2016. So, and bearing in mind, so when I broke my back, they told me I was about 2 millimeters away from paralysis, right? But I was in a horrible place in that time, and I was very stubborn, and like I was really sort of making great progress, but I wasn't happy about it. I was still very much on the mindset. I was like, I'm not doing enough. I'm not getting better quickly. I had my brace on, like this horrendous back brace on, for like a couple of months, and it was only about a month after I took the brace off that I went up the mountain. And not realizing I do this like often, and I didn't realize how like much of a challenge it would be. I sort of get myself into these situations not realizing how hard they're going to be. What were you going to say? Sorry, before I interrupted.
I was going to say, do you think that helped you get better quicker?
I feel like, I don't know, to be honest with you. I looking back now, I should have been of the mindset of gratitude, but I was very much on the mindset of why has this happened to me? If that makes sense. So I didn't really foster a life of gratitude until about 1.5 years later, or maybe 2 years later. Looking back at it now, I should have been like, holy crap, like I still got my legs, I can still move, like I'm gonna get better so fast, I can still eat by myself and all of this. But I was focused very much on the things that I couldn't do. But it happened the way it happened, and I got better, and I was in hydrotherapy for a bit, and then I was back in the gym trying to strengthen up my core. That was one of the biggest things that got to me, actually. So I've always been quite fit and able, but I remember not being able to sit up, like not being able to like physically move my, like do a sit up, if you get me. So that I was like, I was like, I have to get my core strong, I have to do this. But anyway, in August, I was sort of not back to normal, but I was able to like walk long distances, and I had much more sort of strength back. And I went up there with my ex-boyfriend's family, so a bunch of Italian people, and we walked, I think the Rocciamelone is like 3,000 meters, I think, but we went up to a halfway point, which is a kind of standard thing. Otherwise, I think they do it in like 4 days or something like that, but we took like the 1 day hike. But like you said, we left at like, I think it was about 4 a.m, and we started hiking, couldn't see anything. I didn't even have hiking boots. I borrowed his mum's hiking boots. Like I always go into these things unprepared, man. It's ridiculous. But anyway, we made it to sort of a halfway point of the halfway point, if you like. So before there's like a really big peak, steep peak that you have to hike up, but we got to like the refugio and watched the sunrise there. And honestly, it was, like you say, such a humbling moment. I was just sat there like, oh my gosh, first of all, oh my gosh, we're so high.
After having just been through so much as well, that must have been
Yeah.
very humbling, I guess.
I felt, and also, yeah, so I looked down and I was like, oh my goodness. By this point, I think we'd already been hiking for a couple of hours, and I was kind of like, how much further is it, type of thing, because we didn't want to be, because it was sort of height of Italian summer, you don't want to be hiking in like at midday.
Yeah.
You kind of want to be down by then. But yeah, like you say, it was a very sort of humbling, I still remember it now, and I can't put it into words. That's how sort of impactful it was. But yeah, after, like, with my back and everything, I was sitting there like, oh my gosh, I should be taking this in now. This is a really important point in my life. So it has, and it's stuck with me. It's sort of imprinted on my mind, so that's really good. But the other one that I wanted to talk about, which is far more relevant to you, and I wanted to know if you'd already done it, because you're down in New Zealand now on the South Island.
Yeah.
And the other one is Roy's Peak. Have you heard of it for a start, and have you done it?
I have, in Wanaka. I haven't done it, but actually my housemate just spent 2 weeks in Queenstown and did it, and just posted a picture on Facebook of them having hiked up to do a sunrise, and I'm insanely jealous. So it's definitely on my to-do list.
It's amazing. It's absolutely incredible. It's probably the most beautiful view I've ever seen from a mountain. And I've been up a lot of mountains and I've seen a lot of views, but it is incredible. So everyone who's listening, that's Roy's Peak in Wanaka in the South Island of New Zealand. And I'll tell you the story. So at the time I was there, I was working in a craft beer bar. And my shift on that day was, I think, 3 till 11. So I finished at 11 o'clock. And literally that day, me and Anna, my friend, decided, I was like, I really have to do Roy's Peak before I leave Queenstown. Because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get another chance. Like, today's really tomorrow is the only day I can like squeeze it in, but I'm working tomorrow. So we were on the same shifts, and she's she's Kiwi, so she's done it before, so she knew sort of what to expect. Yeah. And we left, so we finished work at 11. We went home, like had a little bit, like 2-hour rest, I think it was 2 hours, then got packing, and we literally scrambled for everything, like torches and like all of this. Again, unprepared. Like, this is just the story of my life, I think, so unprepared. But I think we left Arrowtown at about 1 o'clock, and it was about a 45-minute drive to the base of Roy's Peak, so where you start from. So we got there around 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'd heard the stories that it was kind of a long hike, like a really, really long hike. So we were expecting to be there up the top, like 5 a.m., something like that. But Anna, man, she is tough. Like, she was plowing up that hill. I don't know if it's harder in the daytime because obviously it's so hot and it's open. But we were going up at nighttime, couldn't see like very far in front of us, and like it was one of the hardest hikes I think I've done. And I'm glad I couldn't see how steep it was, because it was like very physically demanding. But yeah, we plowed our way up. We did it in, I think, like 2 hours, which is insane. Like, when you think about the timings that they sort of advise and stuff. Yeah, we went up there in 2 hours. So we had quite a long way up the top for sunrise.
What time were you at the
top? So we got to the top, I think, about 4ish. So we had like an hour and a half or something like that before sunrise. Bearing in mind, we had to like get back down and then go to work the next day as well. So we still hadn't slept. So it was quite an adventure. I think that was the most steps I've ever done in my life in one day. My Fitbit was like, what is going on? But yeah, we got to the top and we waited for about an hour or an hour and a half, something like that. And it was getting quite cold because all your like sweat is obviously drying on you and stuff. But the view, like, it was so worth it. It was worth every single step. It was absolutely incredible. Like, the mountains, the lakes all around there as well. Obviously, you've got Lake Wanaka and all of this. So it was, and like you say, it was all of the things you described: humbling, gratitude, like beauty, like all of those things in one. So it was very sort of, I'm really, really glad that we went up and we made the effort to do the 2 a.m. sort of trek. It's weird, isn't it? Like, thinking about the stuff that you do just for the experience. But I mean, I would never ever take that back, and it was totally worth sort of. So we came back down the mountain then, like double pace because we were knackered, drove back home and then slept, and then we were back in work then the next day. So it was all a rush, and it was all sort of like exciting, but we had the energy for it and we had the life to do it. And I feel like it's something that, you know, years down the line I'll be like, you know, like my grandmother, she's like, enjoy it while you can, use your energy, you're young. I'll be like that, I think, like encouraging these sort of like once in a lifetime experiences, if you will.
Exactly. But I think they are so important. It's easy to think, oh, I haven't got time for it, or I can't make time for it because I'm working. But once you do it, like you say, it's something that you don't forget.
Yeah, exactly. What would you rather, like, if you look back in your life, like, oh yeah, I didn't do that because I was at work? Is that the
Yeah.
sort of, is that what you kind of want to end up saying? Not me anyway. But that was those are sort of my two really important sunrises, the important sunrises of my life. So hopefully they resonate with a couple of people as well. And actually, for anyone who's listening, I would love to be sort of tagged in any sunrise pics or mountain pics, even if they're in Malchesney, Rochemalone, or New Zealand. So the hashtag is share your happy list. I will be keeping an eye out for all of those. But I don't know, should I share another one, or do you want to share another one? Because I feel like I stole yours, even though it was on my list.
Well, I stole yours.
No, it's not true. We're just in sync.
Because some of my other favourite ones were already taken.
That's okay. This is a point actually I have to make to everyone. So obviously everyone is welcome to come on and talk on the happy list, because at the end of the day, these experiences are universal, and what you say will resonate with a lot of people, even if it's the same things. But your reasoning and your stories behind it will be very different from someone else's. You'll have a very different experience. Like, for example, we were just talking about the sunrises that we've experienced, but they're in different places. They were different circumstances. So, but each, is special in its own way. So I think that's an important point to make. Go on, give me one more, and then I'll leave you alone.
Okay. It's probably a bit of a funny one, but I mean, I enjoy it, and everyone that knows me probably knows that I enjoy it. Having naps.
Oh my God. Yes.
I mean, I'm like king sleep, but sometimes a good afternoon nap, just you wake up,
Right.
you don't really know where you are, but you know you've been someplace good.
I love waking up in that, like, the first few moments, like, like, what is life? Like, where am I? That's a really good one, actually. So when I was in university, I literally used to nap all the time. I used to sort of work hard, play hard in uni. It was a vicious cycle of like uni work, drinking, like naps, repeat.
Nap.
That was it. Yeah, it wasn't even actual sleep. It was like little naps. But nowadays, I feel like my routine is quite solid now, and I actually get a good night's sleep, so I don't feel the need for them anymore.
On a weekend, I like a cheeky nap here and there, though.
I'm sure so many people would agree with that.
Yeah.
So many people. It kind of leaves everyone divided, doesn't it? Like naps.
I know, and like you say, I mean, I always try and get enough sleep on a night, and then when I'm napping, I'm always like, you shouldn't nap for too long because you should be doing something productive.
I
And then
hate
sometimes I have a little smile to myself, and I'm like, meh, I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yeah, I hate napping. Like, not hate napping, but I hate napping for too long and waking up like more tired than what you were before. That's like you feel just so groggy. But no, I'm sure like lots. I don't think it's on my list, but maybe it should be. But I have to have like a little caveat there, like naps, but only in the right conditions.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah, like I tell you what, on a hammock, a nap on a hammock, man.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
fair.
dreamy.
That's next level.
That is next level. So if people want to catch up with what you're doing in New Zealand and like keep up with your travels and stuff, where can they find you online, just to have a little look-see?
So probably Instagram's probably what I use the most, but I don't use it too often. Which is Ryan C95 with 2 N's. So
Ryan
RYANN C95.
Ryan C95.
Ryan.
I'll put it on the description of the episode anyway.
The one with 1 N was taken, so I had to move to 2 N's.
Oh, and the numbers. How atrocious.
Well, yeah, I don't know. There's another Ryan C95.
How dare. How very dare. Do you know what I'm really surprised at today? The internet gods, considering you're in New Zealand and I'm in the UK, the internet gods have been in our favour, haven't they? I don't want to jinx it now. I bet you'll just cut out without the recorded. Like, no. Right. So what are you going to do with the rest of your evening? Are you going to take a nap?
It's probably like 8:30 or something. So honestly, it's probably not too far from bedtime, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I would get up pretty early to do exercise. So
well done. Well done, you.
Probably like 9, half 9, I'll be asleep.
Yeah. Oh, nice and early. Very nice.
A few years ago would have been like, who is that person? But
I know, you would have
it's
been
okay.
like 9 o'clock tequila shot.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, Ryan, it's been an absolute delight as always.
It's been lovely to see you and chat.
So I will speak to you very soon, but thank you ever so much, and we'll catch up in a little while.
Thank you for having me. Take
Thank
care.
you. Ciao.
Bye.